So yeah, I'm Ron Procopio with USITT. I am the Expo Director. USITT is the Technical Theater Association. So we are light, sound, video projection, rigging equipment, costumes, anything that you would need to put on any sort of a show. That tends to be our world. That's the pretty one. I was talking to some people at lunch today about Sparktacular. That's one of our new exhibitors that we had this past year. So yeah, we're a 58-year-old nonprofit association. As you can see some of the stats there, 4,000 members. We typically divide them up into 3 different areas. We're a little bit of a hybrid event, in that about a third of our audience are students, a third are academics, meaning professors, people that are working in university world, and the last third are professionals at the show. And those are our stats from this past year, 55, 16. I come from, I guess a little background about me, why am I up here? I have been in this industry now for about 13 years with 4 different companies. I've done all different kinds of events, biopharmaceuticals, robotics, home healthcare, seen a lot of different shows. So coming into USITT, which was a nonprofit association, which was very that copy and paste model, right? You know, we did it last year. No one asked to change it. Why would we change it? That's where I was walking into. I looked at the changes for what we've done in the last 5 years in 2 different ways. One being operational and the other one being cultural. Initially, I looked at how can I take that, what I know from a for-profit model, and bring it to a nonprofit. As my boss will say very often, nonprofit is a tax status. It is not a financial model. You will not be in business very long if you are going that way. So, but it took a lot of convincing of our boards and our committees that it's okay to make cash. It's okay for our exhibitors to do sales on the expo floor. It's okay that we're gonna look at what are our costs, what is our profit margin that we need to do things in. They were so used to this model of we just do it this way. We just pay for things and people will keep coming to our show because they like coming to our show. Well, it's not realistic. So the other side of the coin was to look at the design. It was very cookie cutter. It was right out of the catalogs. I laugh because I had Terrell, who many of you have as an AE, and Terrell, when I first met him, was like, so should I give you the catalog of what we have for registration counters and signs? And I looked at him, I'm like, you're adorable. No, like, it's all gonna be custom. but you keep trying, I appreciate that. I attended our show in 2012. I had been hired, but I was not doing the show. So I got to a unique experience of walking around the convention as an attendee. And I don't know about you guys, but this is nails on a chalkboard to me. You put a piece of paper on a sign. It's like, why would you do that? And actually, I could tell you, so I asked our Shepherd guys after the show was over, I said, can you send me the invoice because I want to look at what they were doing? And for signs, I think they were only like ordering like 28 signs total for a show with 300 sessions, and you know, 4,000 people at the show. It's like, how did you do that? Well, they had one 22 by 28 for every room, and they would stick a piece of paper on it every day with the schedule. And I'm like, guys, we're a professional association here. Let's look like a professional association. So it's walking the talk. It's cleaning it up. It's not looking bulky, but looking fresh and flashy. And so that's kind of a big part of making it look better as a show. The technology, we didn't have our own event website. Actually, that's one of the takeaways from the sandbox over the last few years. We were a section of the association site. So you couldn't have your own navigation. You couldn't have your own show look as a website. It was really hard to create a branding experience from the beginning. We added a mobile app, which, as we talked about earlier, for us it's really about a 24 365 mobile app with all the different things that we're doing. And the other huge area that we're still working on to this day is marketing. I came in that first week and I asked them, can I look at all the emails that you sent last year for your marketing campaign? And they printed out 5 emails and handed it to me. And I was like, where's the rest of it? They were like, that's all we had. And the first one said, this is how to register. You didn't tell me why? Not at all. No, this is how to register. Looking at our membership, I did a whole bunch of research and found that our 4,000 members have been fairly consistent for the last 30 years. And it's interesting because that's some people coming off the retirement age of things, dying off, and 18-year-olds that are becoming the new members. And it's a pretty strong cycle of this membership that we've got. So what that's telling me, though, is that I'm not going to be able to grow and make more people in the United States become tech directors and production managers and stagehands. I'm going to have to grow on the fringes of our industry. So the partnerships has been a really big thing for us. We've got now 14 different companies or other associations that we have relationships with, cross advertising, emailing between each other's memberships. For us, House of Worship is a big industry. Right? No one wants to think about it, but churches really are putting on theater in some places. I'm from New England. They don't do it there, but other places in the country they do. But that has been a big area of growth for us. It's creating this reciprocal relationship between them. We'll get them on the show floor. We advertise to our people, giving them opportunities, publications, all kinds of things that go back and forth. And focusing on the buyers. This has been my biggest challenge, and I still work on it to this day. 58-year association, as my boss once told me, it's a big ship. It's going to take a long time to turn this ship. And we still are in that process of we're not just students. We're 1,800 students of 5,500 people at the show, but the perception out there is that we're just a bunch of students running around. So I'm still having a hard time, how do I get that disconnect of what the registration data is telling me versus what is actually the reality at the show and what people are seeing at the show. But it's constantly something that we'll be working on. So looking at the cultural changes, I really did it in 3 different kinds of phases. I'm not traditionally a salesperson, but I wear many hats, right, as we all do, I'm sure. So for me to come into this role and start selling booths and sponsorships, I needed to do it from a different way. I don't come at it telling you what I'm going to sell you. I come at it asking you, what do you need? What do you want? Who are you looking to reach? And the things that they'll tell me are, as you see there, keeping costs down, right? We talked about that with the drayage earlier. We talked about it with a bunch of different areas, and creating opportunities to connect. So some of this might sound familiar from other talks because it's obviously true to what we're doing. So this is a picture of a console demo area that we created this year on the show floor. This actually started from a conversation at another trade show. I was walking the floor, I bumped into an exhibitor who said, how can you get me more than 5 minutes when someone comes up to my booth and I just get that short interaction, but I also don't need a half day or a full day training time. So I only need like 90 minutes. So how can you give me 90 minutes? And what grew out of that conversation was a console demo area. The idea was to create a space on the expo floor with a registration system that people could go and schedule times to get these 90-minute hands-on experiences with the company that was there. So I think this is probably true for anybody who's got a product-driven show, that you could take that model of doing the hands-on thing. It's so huge for attendees to be able to tie themselves really well with a product and with a company. And for the exhibitor, they get an educated, knowledgeable person walking the floor. They know their product much better now. Here's another one that came out of one of those, I think I was having a beer in Las Vegas with an exhibitor, and he said to me, it would be really cool if you could get everyone's resume and make them searchable so I could like read them before the show and contact them before the show and set up appointments. And I was like, yeah, that would be cool. Not gonna happen, but it's really cool. I mean, there's, as you guys would know, that's a jobs board. there's a million things that are there. But I got home and I started thinking about it. I'm like, how can I do this without giving away email addresses? And I made a call to our registration company. So the process was, during registration, as I'm collecting your name, address, phone number, we also collected your LinkedIn profile link. And they would click on a button that said, make me searchable. And fast forward to the exhibitor side, where I'm giving you, you've got your exhibitor portal, you enter in your badges, you get your hotel book. This was a search feature that they could say, I'm looking for someone who's interested in lighting, that is interested in a full-time position, and is available as of June. And they could hit search, and this is what they would see. So I'm not giving away any of their data, not giving away their demographics. The exhibitor could click on that export results, and they'd see the LinkedIn link. They could contact them through LinkedIn. So I didn't break any rules. I didn't break any spam laws. But I was able to achieve what the exhibitor was looking for. We ended up having about 1,000 of our 5,500 people upload their links. And last I heard, I had people that got jobs through this feature. So it was something different, but it's all about listening to the exhibitor is kind of the point there. This is something that I think I'm probably known for. Kevin can vouch for this. Creating emotional feel. I had a really great boss years ago who was really big on, when you go to a show, you should feel like you just stepped into the marketing. You should feel like I just stepped into the brochure that I've been getting, the emails that I've been seeing, the colors, the shapes, the message that I've been getting are right there. You're wrapped up in a blanket. No pun intended. But so that has been a big driving force for me. As I look at the show colors that our graphic designer will do, and I'm okay, I don't think that red is going to look great against that purple wall, but I'll find a way to make it work. That's kind of the way that I approach the design portion of a show. The other part that we kind of talked about earlier is inspiring attendees. My challenge is I have to inspire tech directors and production managers who create theater that are trying to impress the general public. It keeps me up at night, but I've been able to do that with some really cool, interesting ways in doing it. And actually, that last bullet point is how I do that. I try to create ROI outside the booth. So if I have, say for instance, a lighting company that has a 10 by 10 booth space, and I bring them in, and they have green lights that they put on the wall, that is an additional value, it's additional showcase outside of their booth space. So they can say to people, hey, did you see the lights I put up outside? That was really cool, right? And they get to see what they can do. And that has been a huge place for us because I'm able to create a really giant production, but keep my costs down. Because as a nonprofit, I don't charge for that opportunity. I say thank you. It's just kind of the way it works for us. So this is a 139-foot video projection wall. To my knowledge, it's the largest video projection wall that was seamless in the world. We decided to build something that was going to impress people as you walked in. And actually, I don't know if anybody has seen it. I saw it on YouTube or Facebook. It was Salesforce's headquarters. They have a video wall, and they would have Pac-Man in when you walked in the lobby. And that kind of was the inspiration of this. Oh, and I wanted to show this. This is exactly why I was not the drafter yesterday for the golf swing ones. And poor Kevin gets all of these drawings that I'll take a picture and go, this is what I want it to look like. A lot of whiteout and Sharpies. And this is the next step of the phase, where it's literally like, okay, I want it to look like this, and I want the Instagram feed to come down from the top to the bottom, so if you hashtag, you can see the picture that you just did up on the wall. And here's our sponsor logos that I now have done. I didn't need to print up. and a QR code so you can download the mobile app. Like trying to create this interactive, immersive, but like inspiring place that they're gonna go, I can do that. I never even thought about doing that. And you get to play on this one. So I just did like a quick video so you can kind of see what it was. I did this more just so I knew what I did. This took 5 different exhibiting companies that, you know, a screen company, projections, 7 projectors, all linked together. We had media servers. I had a kid from Yale University do all the designs for me so that this thing could actually happen. It was pretty unbelievable. This goes back to our partnerships. Live Sound Magazine is another partner, and they co-produced an event where we had live sound loudspeaker demos. So like you go to Best Buy and you want to buy a TV, they've got 20 TVs on the wall. Same thing, only $250,000 sound systems. So you could hear the same 30 seconds on every sound system. And this is like one of the only places in the world you could hear that. And it's just, again, bringing in the partnership. So they're now vested in how well we do because they have an event at our show. That was where that whole thing came from. We talked about lounges earlier. We created Not So Central Park this year, which was essentially backdrop companies, which I went to them and asked them if they had an outdoor backdrop that they wanted to showcase. And then we put down some AstroTurf and some picnic tables, and we created this cool place for a lounge. And lighting companies get to show off their lights, and the backdrop companies get to show off their backdrops. This is actually a big deal for the backdrop companies. They don't have the money for a 50-foot booth, but their product is 50 feet wide. So they can have a 10 by 10, and they can show off their 50-foot product. That's the kind of stuff that we're doing. This year, coming up, I actually am doing a fashion show, which I know nothing about. But we will be doing one. This is along those same lines that costume companies, actually this started with costumers coming to me saying, you know, I love that you have the companies here, but I don't get to see enough of their inventory. And I can't make the exhibitor take a 20 by 20 because they want to see more inventory, and it's just not realistic. So what if I do fashion shows? So at 1 o'clock, we're going to do Shakespearean costumes, and 2 o'clock, we'll do military costumes. And this is coming from me, again, who knows nothing about costumes or fashion, but give them what they want, right? This is what the attendee wants, it's what the exhibitor wants, and we can create this immersive experience. This is one of my dumb ideas. So we made the big video wall last year. That wasn't big enough. I want to map the whole front of the convention center. So we're looking to have this really cool experience by projecting onto the front of the building, which I was told the only other people that have ever done it was the NFL. And I told them, well, if the NFL wants it, then that's, you know, put it on my caliber. That's where we're going. And we're going to be having an outdoor stage. So we're going to be creating this giant experience outside that will be special events. That speaker demonstration I showed you earlier, that's going to be going on outside here as well. And sessions related to outdoor topics. And sorry, that's kind of pixelated. And lastly, this is, I think, what is the biggest thing for our success is hitting the road. I probably travel close to 50% of the year. I'm a big proponent of going out. I don't know, is anybody visiting any clients while you're here in Indianapolis? Yeah. See, I'm not alone. That was something for me. It's every trip I go on, I add a day. It's like, oh, okay, let's see who's in the town while I'm there. I was in Orlando last week for a show, drove down to Tampa, and I saw 4 people on Monday. And that, when I go there, this isn't me giving them a sales pitch. It's me asking them, what's going on? How are things going? How was last year's show? What worked, what didn't work? I want to see their warehouses. I want to see their facility, get to know them. And actually, it's great because you hear the bad things. They'll tell you as much bad as they can, which is good because I can't fix it if I don't know. And that's the reality of the situation. So this is where we came from. When I took over, this was the first year. It was 200 booths, Kevin? Does that sound right? Somewhere around there, 197. And this is where we are now. So we're 307 last year. We're expecting 320 this year. It's a little bit over 200,000 gross square feet. And as you can see, there's a lot of weird things going on in this floor plan. There's those demo areas kind of on the middle left. The park that says there is actually, which came out of my Tampa visit. The backdrop companies want to do a ballroom theme this year. So we're going to be setting up a ballroom, Kevin. Let you know about that now. I got to find a dance floor. We've put 2 stages on the floor. Innovation stage on the top left, and we've got the costume stage on the far right. We've got an interview area. I took a 30 by 50 and we're just gonna put cocktail sets out so people can do job searching, because that's our hybrid event. We've got Disney and Cirque and all the cruise lines. And yes, I know the people that can actually float those chairs. If you guys want to get that done, let me know, I'll get you in touch with them. And you'll see there's diagonal aisles, there's a dark zone, there's all kinds of weirdness on our show floor. But that's our people, though. We're also we're a little crazy. We'll take chances like that. Good question. So if I am selling lights or projectors, I want the environment to be as dark as possible. And one of the battles that I have fought is we would have all these companies next to each other. There would be a rigging company next to a lighting company, next to a costume company. And one's yelling that they want the light out above them. The next one says, no, it's too dark. So this year, after doing an exhibitor survey, 92% came back and said that, yes, have an area where the lights are out. So we're going to have the lights out in that area. And I'm not forcing anybody to use it. If you don't want to be there, no problem. You can go wherever you want to go. But I would recommend it. It's that kind of thing. So I think, this year, I think 6,000 attendees is possible. I think 7,500 in 5 years is possible. And I think 400 exhibitors in 5 years is possible. That's kind of where I'm gunning for. Of course, David would probably freak out if he saw some of those numbers, but there it is. So that's who we are, and that's how we've been growing. And it's been, 10 to 15% every year for the last 5 years, and it's just listen to your exhibitors. They'll tell you the way. Thank you.